What's up, everybody?
6 years old. My parents split up.
Hold on. Some flea video started playing. Okay, so real quick, let me make sure this shit is working because, okay, it is. Okay. Sorry, my camera's going to be all jacked up because I've been moving stuff around. So really quickly, over on surface noise, Chance talked about the situation that happened with the Soda Stereo. So a lot of times, so basically music on vinyl did reissues of the Soda Stereo albums. And in the US, if you contact, because I've contacted Music on Vinyl will tell you that their main distributor in Europe is called Bertus. And in the U.S., it's a company called URP, which I think it stands for United Record Pressings. But they didn't have the Soda Stereo, so I bought the Soda Stereo from Alliance, and the retail price that Alliance gives you is $39.99, right? But Indovineer had it for $32.99, which I didn't realize. Normally, I look it up. I didn't look it up this time because I just didn't. I just figured, it's music on vinyl. It's an import. No one's going to have a different price. But it's true that Jason bought his at Indovineer, and he's the one indirectly through Cesar. I found out that it was $32.99. So I started investigating. How are they pricing it at $32.99? Now I know the guys at Innoveneer. I know they didn't just make a mistake. So I start digging around and I find nothing. I contact URP and I ask them what's going on with the Soda Stereo. Why don't you guys have it? And they said that they think it was some kind of Sony exclusive or something like that. And I later on found out. I've been told now that Sony actually owns music on vinyl, and sometimes they do weird things. Right, a lot of times they'll press something for music on vinyl, and then they'll just make it available in the U.S. like a non-music on vinyl release later. But anyway, so I searched high and low. I could not figure out what the deal was. I looked everywhere. Either they didn't have the Soda Stereo, or they were $39.99. So I finally just gave up, and I was like, let me just reach out to Innoveneer and let me ask them, where did you get the Soda Stereos from? And they told me that there's a distributor in the Netherlands that they use for music on vinyl, and they gave me the contact info. So I reached out to them. And I got their price list. Now, unfortunately, the first batch of Soda Stereo reissues from Music on Vinyl that were on clear vinyl, they were limited to I think 1,000 a piece, so they're sold out. At least that distributor they're sold out of. You can still get them from there are some distributors that still have some copies left, but this particular distributor was out of them now. They got all swallowed up. But Innoveneer told me they're pretty sure that it'll come out on black vinyl later, or they'll just reissue them normally in the U.S. Is what'll likely happen, because Sony has done this with some other titles that they're familiar with. But that's basically, Mark. So I think the stream is on a delay or whatever. But yeah, Mark, Dan from at Innoveneer is totally cool. He gave me the information. He gave it to me without any grief or anything. So yeah, I mean that's basically it. They just got them from a distributor, and there's a distributor in the Netherlands that have all of the music on vinyl titles, and they do them in euros, but I calculated the price, and sure enough, I had the price at the store. I don't have it here at the house with me, but sure enough, it was cheaper than I couldn't check the Soda Stereo price because they don't have any more of the Soda Stereo, but I cherry picked some other titles that were newer, and sure enough, they were like a good like $4 or $5 cheaper than even URP was. Now, granted, you'll have to pay for shipping from the Netherlands, so that may offset the cost or whatever. But if you're buying them in large quantities, getting them at the cheaper price is actually probably worth it. Yeah, so that was the whole mystery. Innoveneer, through the years, they obviously, Innoveneer has a lot more experience. I said this on the other stream. Dan from Innoveneer, he used to be one of the owners for 33. There was a store in town called 33 Degrees. And so he's been in this vinyl game for decades, like almost 3 decades, right? Because I went to 33 Degrees back in the late 90s. Um, and they weren't even a new store then. So he's been doing this for a long time. Uh, so yeah, that's the whole mystery there. He just got them for a better price and was able to mark them down. And that's kind of the whole deal. Um, yeah, and so now if I want to get them from there, I can as well. Yeah, Mark, you remember 33 Degrees? That was the only record store I remember going to in Dallas, or sorry, sorry, fuck, I got to learn how to talk. That was the only record store I remember ever going to in Austin before I moved to Austin. I would come down. I lived in Dallas, and I would come down to Austin to visit, to go to like club nights or shows or whatever it is I was doing, and I would always hit up 33 Degrees because they were the only store that had the kind of music I was into. And now I know why they had the music that I was into, because, well, one, because of Dan and the owners have good taste in music, but also a guy that I would meet many years later, Thad. He worked there, and when the whole trick, the whole secret to what makes a good store, a good record store, is having a good buyer. That's it. I mean, any schmuck can open up some accounts with some distributors and open up a record store. It's not rocket science. I mean, there is some stuff about it that is rocket science, about figuring out which distributors to get accounts with. But at the end of the day, it matters what you buy, like what you choose to buy from those distributors. Um, whether it's new records or if you're buying used. If you think about your favorite record stores, it's because you have similar taste as the buyers in that record for that record store. You know what I mean? Nah, no, 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 no. No, I'm just saying. Anyway, that's the whole mystery. I could have just reached out to Dan to begin with. I kind of wanted to do some research myself just to kind of figure things, because normally I can figure things out on my own. This one was a tricky one because this distributor, and I wish I had their name. I have all the information at the store, so I don't have it with me. Um, it's like a smallish distributor in the Netherlands. They only distribute a few things. They distribute music on vinyl. They distribute one other label, and I can't remember what the name of it is. And they distribute an all CD label called I can't remember what it's called, but it's not Music on Vinyl's main distributor, which is Bertus, which is the one I talked about in the last video. This was a different distributor, one that I mean, without Dan's help, I probably never would have found it. Um, But now that I know who they are, you know, if I ever want to buy like a massive amount of music on vinyl, I will definitely go with them because, you probably save a decent chunk of change, you know? And I knew this, like, just as I will say this, in a veneer for local Austin record stores, in a veneer is my favorite store. Um, Like, I mean, obviously, if I'm not, shopping at my own store, if I go to another store, for especially for new records, it's in a veneer. Um, they will have the lowest prices out of all the other big stores. They will usually be at least a couple dollars cheaper. Um, and I don't want to say much more than that, but I do love Innoveneer. For used records, I also love Innoveneer. They will, because that's the other thing, right? I said, like, what makes a good store is having a good buyer. And not only for their taste, but also for the amount of money that they offer people for their collections. Everyone knows this. Like, if you're into record collecting, you want to get to know all of the stores in your area. If you're blessed enough to have, several, and you can kind of figure out which ones get the best collections. Here in Austin, in my opinion, Innoveneer and Breakaway get the cream of the crop. BLK and Love Wheel also get a lot of good stuff. And Waterloo just doesn't. They don't get the best stuff. You know what I mean? It's just I mean, they get good stuff, but like not nearly as much as the other stores. Now, if you'll talk to Jason Rojas, he'll tell you a different story, right? Um, because it's all about your taste and what are you into, and which stores are you in tune with as far as the stuff that they get in. I don't think there's ever been a single time that I've ever stepped foot inside Innoveneer and not found at least one used record that I want. You know, um, whereas I have done that with every other store. So it's just for me, Innoveneer. We're in tune with one another. Um, so that's it. We are going to go over to Wolfman's channel. I just want to play one other song here before we go. I have a whole set planned out, but I'll do it another time because we're gonna go over to Wolfman. We are gonna go over to Wolfman's channel. I just want to play one other song here before we go. I have a whole set planned out, but I'll do it another time because we're gonna go over to Wolfman. We are gonna go over to Wolfman's channel. I just want to play one other song here before we go. Hey, thanks, everyone.